The desert stretched endlessly, a vast sea of golden sand under a sun that burned like molten metal. The wind blew dry and sharp, carrying grains of sand that stung skin. He was only 12, a boy who should have been playing near his village, but curiosity had led him far from home. That morning he had followed a shimmer on the horizon, a strange glimmer that made him think he saw water where there was none. Each step sank into the sand, each breath was heavier than the last, and yet something inside him urged him forward. As he climbed a small dune, he noticed movement, slight, irregular, and unsettling. At first he thought it was a desert animal, perhaps a fox or a sand lizard. But then he saw her. She was lying in the sand, half buried, her body twisted and still. The first thing noticed was her skin. It shimmered in the sunlight, colors shifting between soft purple and silver like the desert itself had painted her. Then he saw her eyes, large, golden, glowing faintly. They opened slowly, blinking at him with a mixture of fear and confusion. She was not human. She was not like anything he had ever seen. Fear screamed in his mind. Every instinct told him to run, to hide, to escape the unknown. But something stronger than fear held him in place. Compassion. The voice of his father echoed in his mind. If you see someone in need, you help no matter what. He took a deep breath, swallowed hard, and stepped closer. Are you okay? Can you hear me? The alien girl tried to speak, but only a strange, melodic sound came out. It was beautiful and haunting at the same time, a sound that made feel both awe and helplessness. She moved slightly, and her hand reached toward him weakly. Understood, she needed him. He looked at her leg and felt his stomach twist. It was bent at a terrible angle, blood dried along her scales. He had never seen such an injury before. His hands shook as he ripped a strip from his shirt to make a bandage. Gently, carefully, he pressed it against the wound. She whimpered softly, a sound that pierced his heart. It's okay, he whispered. You're safe. I won't let anything happen to you. Carrying her seemed impossible. She was heavier than him, taller than him, and the desert was unrelenting, but refused to leave. He fashioned a sling from his jacket, wrapped her gently, and began dragging her inch by inch toward a small canyon he remembered from earlier wanderings. The sand was like fire beneath his feet, and sweat burned his eyes. Every muscle in his body screamed to stop, but he kept going, telling her stories as he moved, trying to calm both of them. He spoke of the village, of his dog, of his sister, of nothing and everything. Anything to keep her calm. Hours passed. The sun climbed high and then slowly began to descend, turning the desert into a painting of gold, orange, and red. Lips were cracked, his arms ached, and his shirt stuck to his back with sweat and sand, but still he stayed by her side. He gave her water from his bottle, shaded her with his jacket, and whispered comfort even when he wasn't sure she could understand. Her breathing gradually slowed, shallow at first, then steadier. Her large golden eyes watched him carefully, filled with something could not name. Gratitude, trust, recognition. Night fell and the desert grew cooler, the stars scattered across the sky like scattered diamonds. Had never seen anything so beautiful. He felt a strange sense of peace despite his exhaustion. That peace was broken by a faint glow emanating from her wounds. He froze, eyes widening as the soft golden light spread across her bent leg. The bandage he had tied began to shimmer, then fade, and slowly her leg began to straighten, the skin and scales knitting together in a way that everything knew about biology. He stumbled back a few steps, his mind racing. Was this magic? Some alien power? His fear returned, but it was mingled with awe. She stood slowly, fully healed, the glow fading from her skin. She looked at him with those golden eyes and felt something overwhelming, gratitude, understanding, a deep connection that went beyond words. He realized that his act of compassion, something so small to him, had been monumental to her. For a moment they simply looked at each other. He could feel her emotions flowing into him, fear, pain, relief, trust, and something else, something almost like hope. She moved closer, reaching a hand toward his cheek. The touch was gentle, electric, and comforting all at once. His heart swelled, and he felt a connection he could not explain. She was not human, but in that moment she felt like family, like a friend, like someone he would protect with everything he had. And then, without warning, she leaped into the air, gasped as she soared above the desert dunes, leaving a faint trail of golden light behind her. His knees buckled as he sank to the sand, exhaustion overwhelming him, yet his heart soared. He had saved her. He had made a difference. And in that quiet desert, he realized something profound. Being human meant having the courage to act, even when the outcome was uncertain, even when the stakes were unimaginably high. Sat in the sand for a long time, staring at the horizon where she had vanished. The wind whispered around him, and the desert seemed to hold its breath. He felt changed. He understood now that kindness, courage, and empathy were powerful forces. Even a small boy, alone in the vast desert, could touch another life and change its course forever. As he began the long walk back home under the stars, felt a warmth in his chest, a spark that told him the world was larger, stranger, and more beautiful than he had ever imagined. Somewhere out there, the alien girl lived, thriving because of him. And somehow he knew that she would remember him forever, as he would remember her. That night, as he lay in his bed back in the small village, could not sleep. He thought about her golden eyes, the way she had trusted him, the way she had healed in his presence. He understood that this encounter had changed him. He was no longer just a boy wandering in the desert. He was someone who had faced the unknown and chosen to help, and in that choice he had touched another world. The desert was still. The stars shone bright. And small and human, knew with every fiber of his being that even the smallest act of courage and compassion could ripple across worlds, leaving marks that could never be erased.